In my experience, one of the biggest problems, if not the biggest problems facing English language teachers is how to get students to practice.
Welcome to the Hack Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Barnes, providing right now solutions to some of your biggest teaching and learning problems. Now, let's hack learning. You heard from Jason Levine, also known as Fluency MC. Now, if that means nothing to you, you're going to want to check out our show notes today at hacklearningpodcast.com and look for the episode on hacking English language learning, because Jason, or Fluency MC, is world-renowned in his practice for helping students who do not speak English as their native language learn English, and he's doing it in ways that we've never seen. He's combining music and rap and repetition in ways that are just amazing and are blowing kids away and making them grab on to the language like they never have before. We've embedded one of Jason's videos on the Hack Learning Podcast, and you can see that there. And he, again, is world-renowned. We're talking about a guy that gets millions of views. And this is an educator. I mean, we're not talking about, Taylor Swift or someone who, puts up hundreds of millions of views on their songs. But this is an educator, and in a niche like this, you don't typically see that kind of popularity. So it's truly incredible what's happening. And you're going to want to take a look at that video over at hacklearningpodcast.com. So we brought Jason on, and I'm fortunate because Jason and I go way back, and he is truly an amazing guy. When I wanted to hack English language learning, I thought, well, who else can really do that? Who else is doing that but Jason Levine, a.k.a. Fluency MC? So he is going to share with us 3 hacks for English language learners and for teachers of English language learners. And they're quick and they're easy. And I'll tell you, I think Jason Levine has been hacking learning long before we even created Hack Learning. Let's go back and let's listen to what Jason says about the problems that teachers have with English language learners and how the classroom isn't so conducive to the best kind of learning for them, and what he thinks has to happen. And then we'll get to his tips.
In the classroom, there's such short time with students, and studying the language is important, learning about how it works, and then trying to get students to use it in context, in real situations. This is fine, but without repetitive practice with the target language, without multiple exposures, without having practice like this, they will not be able to succeed.
So Jason says the biggest issue in class is that there's not enough time. I mean, how often do we hear this in education? There's just not enough time for teachers to do what they need to do. So the answer is practice, and we have to do it outside of class. Boy, it sounds a little bit like homework, doesn't it? Now, homework is something we've hacked, and we continue to hack, and we've been very hard on traditional homework. The idea that most of what kids get is this sort of rote memory stuff, worksheets, workbooks, things like that. And I have talked to other teachers who are English language learning teachers, and they say, well, what else am I going to do? If I don't send this work home and have the kids repeat this over and over or write the same things down over and over, I don't know how they're going to learn the language. Well, here comes Jason Levine, a.k.a. Fluency MC, and this is a guy who does it differently. He is a true education hacker. So he's got 3 tips. And I think that this is going to change, and I think Jason is already changing how English language learning is done. And if you're not on board with the kinds of things that he's doing, you're going to want to listen to these tips, and you're going to want to check out the show notes at hacklearningpodcast.com. So let's listen to Jason's first tip.
The first tip I have for English language teachers is to try to inspire students to get practice outside of the classroom. English is everywhere on the internet. It's not like teaching Dutch or something where it's harder to find interesting real life materials. So if students feel comfortable listening to songs, watching video clips in English, then they'll do it. Feeling comfortable means not telling them to do it, making it feel like they have to. It's an assignment, because they won't. But to get them interested, curious, confident, so that they're able to go out there and get that English practice that they need so badly.
So, again, Jason says practice, but he's talking about practicing in a different way. I said I've talked to ELL teachers who say, they need to send kids home with the worksheets and the workbooks and have them read the language and write it over and over or recite it. What Fluency MC says is we need to make it fun, and we need to make the kids feel like they're practicing on their own without necessarily being told that they have to do this. So the best way is to make it fun. And how do we do that? It says kids love the internet, and it's out there. Let them listen to the music. Let them watch the videos. The key is, if English language learners gravitate to a video and they enjoy it and they see it, they're going to start to sing along eventually, and they're going to work on accuracy and all of those things that really lead to fluency. And maybe they're going to listen to music. Listening is so important. When we hear the words and how they sound along with reading them, that makes a real difference. Speaking of listening, here at Hack Learning, we're big fans of Audible. And this is another great way to get kids, not only English language learners, but learners in general, to pick things up, to listen while they're reading. Today, Hack Learning podcast listeners have an opportunity to pick up Audible for free and to choose a book for free from their library of over 180,000 titles. That is truly incredible. Imagine if you're walking, if you're on a treadmill, if you're sitting in a doctor's office, whatever you're doing, or if you're in a classroom and you have students who want to listen. Audible is really an incredible way to do that. Audio books are becoming more and more popular. So today, please visit hacklearningresources.com. You'll see a link to Audible. You can click on that link and grab Audible for free, and then go shopping in the library. Hey, if you want a Hack Learning book, Hacking Education and Hacking Assessment are both available on Audible. But there's many, many other titles there too. Check it out today, hacklearningresources.com. Click on the Audible link, grab Audible for free, grab a book for free, and stick it in your ear. You're going to love it. So let's get back to Jason Levine and listen to his second tip for helping English language learners.
Tip number 2, encourage your students to use social media to practice English. Why? Because there's so much happening in English and social media that's interesting for young people. And also because the way social media works, there's not a lot of pressure to write a lot, to do a lot with English. Short answers, short questions, informal language, and immediate responses make it more like real life communication, conversation, even though it's chatting and writing.
Real life conversation. How about that? Is that something that might make kids want to learn, connecting it to the real world? That's a trendy phrase that we love in education, right? That we have to teach kids about the real world. I've often said, well, school's really not the real world when you think about it. And kids' lives outside of the classroom are so complicated that when we walk into class and we put worksheets and workbooks and textbooks under their nose, it doesn't seem like the real world. What my good friend Jason Levine, Fluency MC, says is kids like social media, right? Sure they do. Embrace that. Give them a taste of it. And if you send your English language learners to social media, And obviously, we're going to have to show them how to do this and teach appropriate use, but they're going to do it anyway. They're going to be on the social networks when they're not in class. So why not embrace that and say, hey, let's ask some questions. Let's answer some questions. Let's do some short writing with the language, because there's no stress there. If you are concerned as a student that you can't write a lot in a language you don't understand, well, that's okay. If you go on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or somewhere like that, you can write short, quick, 140-character sentences. And what a great, fun way to get English language learners involved in actually using the language in the real world. So we're making it fun. We're making it real world. There's a whole attitude here. And speaking of attitude, let's listen to what Jason says about his third tip for hacking English language learning.
The third tip I have is a suggestion for how to think about accuracy and fluency in English for your students. It comes from my friend and colleague Chuck Sandy. He said, practice builds accuracy, accuracy builds confidence, and confidence builds fluency. To me, this is the way to think about what we're doing with English language learners, that when they feel confident with their grammar, their pronunciation, right? They have that high accuracy, then fluency is the result. How do they get to that point with accuracy? That's the practice. As I said before, practice is something we do not have time as teachers to do with students in the classroom. So we need to try to inspire them out of class to get lots of fun and interactive practice with English.
Fun, interactive practice, and an attitude, a mantra, this idea of practice leading to accuracy, and accuracy leading to confidence, and confidence building fluency. And that's what you get from Fluency MC. Hey, you're going to want to check out the show notes over at hacklearningpodcast.com, because there's more from Jason Levine, aka Fluency MC there, including an embedded video, one of his most popular videos. And again, we're talking about a guy, an educator who travels around the world. And boy, if you check out his Facebook page, just look up Jason Levine or Fluency MC on Facebook. Tons of pictures of him traveling around the world, interacting with kids in many, many countries, singing, rapping, showing them all of the great ways to embrace English language learning. I want to thank Jason Levine, Fluency MC, for his contributions today. And I want to remind you to check out hacklearningpodcast.com. Look for the episode on hacking English language learning. And remember, check out hacklearningresources.com, where you can get Audible for free, and you can browse 180,000 titles and download a book for free. Just because you're here listening to the Hack Learning Podcast, check it out, hacklearningresources.com. Lots of great stuff there. The conversation continues at #HackLearning on Twitter. Check out amazing Hack Learning series books and other resources at hacklearning.org. The Hack Learning Podcast is a proud member of the Education Podcast Network. For more information, visit hacklearningpodcast.com. I'm Mark Barnes, and this is the Hack Learning Podcast. See you next time.